Hi everyone. Today we're going to look at how to sketch a quartic graph. Um, Now quartic has three forms, just like cubic and parabola. We're going to look at how to sketch in each form, right? Now the first form we call that a turning point form, which is y equal a x minus h to the power 4 plus k. Now, just like parabola, quartics have an even power, right? Now, if so similar, you're going to have h and k is a turning point. So turning point h comma k. And your shape, how does that look like? H and k here, and it basically just look like a parabola, but it's more flat on when you're approaching the turning point. Okay. Now, and it's look like that, but because you draw by hand, it's really hard to see. Um, this is for a positive. Then for a negative, your shape will be just upside down. Okay. A less than zero. And the turning point h and k. Then you can find the x and the y and the z later on. Now, step two, second form is the um, factorized form, or we call that the x-intercept form or factorized form, right? Now, quartics is very diverse in this form because some of solutions are repeated. So let's start with the first one is y equal a x minus b, x minus c, x minus d, and x minus a. So you have four x-intercept here, b, c, d, and e. Um, and if I have a shape like I have B, C, D, and E. A positive quartic, we start from the top, and then they just passing through all these one. Okay, so it look like that. Well, so this is for a positive, and for a negative, it will just go upside down, right? How low do you go? How deep do you go? That's it when you take in the calculus derivative, but we talk about that in the next video. All right. Now, if you have y equal a, x minus b square, and then x minus c square. So when you have a square at both b and c, so this means you're going to touch or form a parabola at b, and you form a parabola at c. Or you can say you touch the x-axis at x equal b and x equals c. Okay, so how does that look like on my graph? So imagine I have B here and I have C here. Then you go to the B, and at B, remember, you need to touch it because you form B form a square. So you back up straight away. Then you go to C, and at C, you need to touch it. So you go up again. Okay. And similarly, if I do a negative side, then I can go like this. So it's both touch at the x-axis. So we have two forms so far, as you can see. Now, the next one is y equal a x minus b square, x minus c, and x minus d. So here I have three x-intercept and one of them is repeated. So in here I repeat my solution at b. So again, I'm going to touch the x-axis at x equal b only. Okay, and C and D, I just pass through it. So depend on where is B. B can be here in the middle between C and D, or B just can be just the smallest one. Now, if I have B, C, D here, so I start from the top, I go to B. At B, I need to back up straight away. I touch it. Go to C. At C, nothing happened, and go to D, nothing happened. So you just cut through. All right. However, if I have the C here, B now become here, and C, D here. So I start from the top, then I go to B, cut through C, then I go to B, and at B, I need to form a parabola. So I'm going to back down straight away. And you can see it touch it here. Then I go to D, and at D, I just cut it. Okay. And I'm going to do the last case if I have C, D, and then B at the back. So I start from the top, go to C, I just cut it through C, I go to D, I just cut it through, then I go to B, and at B, I need to back up straight away. So you just form a parabola at B at whatever the point is, right? Similarly, if you have a negative shape, so if you have C here, B here, and D here, and let's say this time you do a negative, then you start from the bottom, you go to C, at C you just cut it through, you go to the B, and the B you need to touch it, so you back up, then you go to the D, and D you just cut it through, like that, okay? All right, and the last form that we have is the when three of the x intercept are the same. So when you have cube like that, x minus c, right? Now, if you have b here and c here, when you have the cubic at B, this means you're going to form a cubic. So if you have a square, you form a parabola. If you have a cube, you form a cubic. So you form a cubic at x equal B. So you start from the top, okay? You go to the B, and at the B, you need to form a cubic. So you kind of you form a point inflection like that. So you can see it's kind of inflecting at B. So point of inflection, POI, point inflection at that point at x equal B. So you can sort of see that's the cubic here. Then you go to the C, and the C, you just cut it through. So your shape is looking like that. If I reverse C and B, so it's C here and B here, and let's say this is still a positive shape. So I start from the top, I cut it through C, okay? Then I go to the B, and the B, I need to form a cubic, so I kind of inflect in it, and then I back up straight away. All right. And similarly, if you have to do with a negative shape, then you have B and C here. B, because negative, you start from the bottom, you go to B, and then you need to form a cubic. So you kind of inflect it like that. You can see cubics here. You go to C, then a C, you just cut it over. And similarly, if I have C here and B here, then I go to the C, cut it, and then I go to the B, I need to form a cubic like that. All right. So the point, if you see cube anywhere, you form a cubic at that point. Okay. So that's pretty much for different forms of factorizing quartics. So you have this form, you have this form, um, you have this, and you have this. So you can see if you can put them together, if this doesn't have any square, then you just cut through all of them. If there's a square for both, then you touch the x-axis, you form a parabola for both. If you only have one square here, then you form a parabola at whatever the point is. And finally, if you have cube, then you form a cubic. Okay. Now the last form now I want to talk about is general form. So with the general form, y equal ax4 plus bx cubed plus cx squared plus dx plus a. So you need to go back and to the previous video and learn how to factorize if you don't know yet. So for general form, you need to factorize, okay? And if you recall, we talk about different methods of factorizing. If you have no constant, or you can, or basically a equals 0, then the method to factorize is you take out the highest common factor. If you have a constant, so if a not equal 0, then you're going to apply you're going to find a factor, and you're going to do the table and draw a table out. So please watch the video if you're not sure, the previous video. And if you have three terms, which is x4, x squared, and the and the constant, then you convert. So you convert this to a quadratic equation. And finally, if you have four terms and they have the same ratio, then the method that you're going to do is grouping, right? I'm going to do one example and I'm going to show you how do we sketch it. So let's say my example is y equal x4 minus 6x cubed minus 16x squared, something like that. So like technically I don't have any constant here. So I can take out the common factor, okay, which is x squared. So x squared, I have x squared minus 6x minus 16. Then I factorize this will be x squared minus 8, sorry, x minus 8 times together is negative 16 as 6, so negative 8 and positive 2. So you can see I factorize to three factor here, and the x squared mean x minus 0 square. So they're repeating the solution as 0, right? So my x-intercept will be x equals 0, x equal a, and x equal negative 2. So I would have negative 2, 0, and a. Okay. Positive quartic start from the top. I start from the top, then I go to negative 2, right? Then I go to the 0, and at the 0, I need to touch it. So I touch it like that. Then I go to the 4, and then at the 4, nothing happens, so I just go up again. And then here it is.